So over the past few days, Clawdbot has been going viral, right? And I get why. After trying it out, I get why. Most AI assistants are basically chat boxes. They answer questions, they write stuff, and then they stop at that point. But Clawdbot, now called Moltbot, is different because it's built to run infrastructure 24/7, and you can self-host it, and you can also connect it to real tools that we use every day. So I decided to test it out the only way that matters. I installed it on my own AWS EC2 instance, and I'm going to walk you through the exact setup steps I went through. Once it's done and configured and it's working, I'm also going to show you how this works with some of the tools I use, specifically Telegram, Notion, and some other apps as well. So let's get right into it. Clawdbot has been going viral over the past few days, and it's basically the name of a self-hosted gateway that lets you run an assistant on your own server and also connect it to real channels or tools such as WhatsApp, Discord, Telegram, plus other integrations. So you can do actions for you and not just chat. Because I was able to do some things in Notion just by chatting through Telegram. So that was super cool. But a couple of important clarifications though. So Clawdbot was recently renamed Moltbot. So you still see Claude and everything in the folders. Even if you go to the website, the link is Clawdbot and everything, but it's really not affiliated to Anthropic's Claude in any way. In fact, the project is now rebranding to Moltbot, right? You realize that in some cases I'll say Moltbots, in some cases I'll say Clawdbots. Just know that they're just rebranding it. Can work with different type of models. The core idea here though is able to run a gateway plus connect UI and connect like a chat channel interface like Telegram, and then wire it into apps or workflows to do real tasks for you. Let's get started. Because I'm installing this inside an EC2 instance on AWS, let me first try to SSH into my EC2 instance. I'm just going to lead into this OPT folder just because it's sort of a clean place to keep self-hosted applications, and it's sort of separate from my system files and all that. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to create a directory where all the files are going to live, right? And I'm going to give it a user ownership. So I'm going to run this exact query first to create a directory. I'm going to assign the user ownership to it by using this exact query. Doing this because I want to avoid permission issues when Docker compose writes files. I just want to keep everything organized in the beginning. So now that I have my directory created, I just want to go into that directory I just created. And then now what I want to do is I'm going to clone the repo, right? The Clawdbot repo. I mentioned it's open source, right? So you can just clone the code of a tab. Just gonna use this exact command to clone it so that I can pull the exact code I need. That's all the Docker scripts that I need to run. And I need Docker to be able to run Clawdbot. But since I already have it on my machine, I can go ahead and run the setup. Because we've already cloned the code and everything, I'm just gonna go ahead and run the setup. So this is Moltbot's like golden path for Docker, right? It builds the image, it runs the onboarding, and sets up the gateway plus config defaults that we need. So it'll take a while for it to run, just a few minutes. So once it runs, we can move on to the next step. So it's just asking for a few things. So I'm just going to respond. I'm just going to go with a quick start onboarding nodes. I'm just going to say reset because I already did have some of these done already. I'm going to say config only. And in here, it's sort of asking for API keys for most of these models here. So I'm going to go with my Gemini API key. So I'm going to select Gemini, and then I'm going to go with my Gemini API key. So this is where if you don't have Google Cloud, if you don't have your account set up on Google Cloud, if you don't have, you need to get your Google Cloud console up and running to be able to get the Gemini API key and all that. And I've actually done a lot of tutorials on how to get your API key and everything from the Google Cloud console. So I'm probably going to link a tutorial in here so that you can watch that video if you don't know how to get your Gemini API key up and running. So I'm just going to keep the current model, which is Gemini 3 Pro Preview. You can really select whatever model you want, but I'm just going to go with this one here, and I'm going to click on enter. And in terms of the channel, I'm going to start with Telegram. And then maybe I may try WhatsApp as well. But let me just go with Telegram for now. Now, if you want to go with Telegram, what you need to do is you need to set up your token on Telegram as well. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. A good thing about this setup is that it also instructs you on how you can actually get your access token and everything from Telegram as well. But basically, you have to open Telegram first. And then you search for bot father. And then you type in this exact command, new bot, right? So once you type in new bot, it's going to ask you, how are we going to call it? And you can just give it a name, right? And now it's asking us to choose a username for a bot. It has to end with bot, right? And then once I do that, it's going to give me the access token. So this is basically the access token you need to enter in here. So I'm just going to copy this access token here. And then I'm going to paste this exact token. I'm going to paste this exact token in here to continue with the configuration. The configuration is quite simple, actually. Yes, I'm going to say yes. Going to install yes, npm yes. And with this as well, you can decide to install all these dependencies. All right. So it's asking for Google Places API key. So I'm going to use the same. The reason why it's asking for it is because this is a bot, right? So maybe you may want to ask it questions about things near you and all that. So which is why you need the API key to basically use Google Places API so that you can. Also, there's Nano Banana here as well. So if you want to do anything with Nano Banana, you want to generate images and all that, the bot can do that for you as well. It's asking me for my Notion API key. Also, if you don't use Notion, you don't need to get the API key for Notion and all that. I use Notion, so in fact, one of the use cases I'll be demoing is actually based in Notion. So I'll definitely enter my Notion integration secret as well. I'm not going to be putting in my OpenAI API. Even labs for now, no. If you want to do something with like TTS, text to or speech to text with your bot, then it makes sense for you to enter your 11 Labs API key and all that. Right now, I'm not going to use any of that. So I'm just focused on the setup and one use case with, let's say, Telegram and Notion. So let's stick to that so it's a lot more simple. So this is done. Yes, complaining a bit about certain things, but that's because I also didn't put in API key or anything. And I'm not saying this is the best setup out there, but it would help you at least start testing. Let's just ensure that our gateway container is running in the background. I'm going to enter this exact command to just ensure that our gateway container is running in the back end. So as you can see, it's saying it's running. So that's good. I just want to do one more thing. I just want to confirm that this is actually running in its app. So let's see. So as you can see, it was created about a minute ago and its app and everything. So that's pretty neat and that's really good. When the configuration completed, it gave us a token, right? And that's the token we are going to be using. And what's important here is that this URL you get, right? And take note of the token you get as well. It's supposed to be secret, so you don't need to share it with anybody. So let me show you what the interface here looks like. So this is the interface of the dashboard UI. So as you can see, it's saying disconnected, parent required. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a conversation with the bot I created just a moment ago. I'm going to start that conversation with it so that I can kick things off. So if you need access to the files or all the commands I used, just join my school community. It's free. I'm going to leave the link in the comment section below, and then you can join my school community. I also do have lots of tutorials, N8N automation tutorials in N8N. If you're just getting started with AI automations in N8N, you'd want to watch this video because it's very beginner friendly as well. In February, I'm hosting a 3-day N8N automation workshop. Actually, it's a 6-hour N8N automation workshop. By the end of the 3rd day, you'll be able to have at least your first version of your AI workflow working for you inside N8N. I'm going to leave the link to sign up as well in the comment section below so that you can sign up for that as well. So as you can see, our setup is ready inside Telegram. And at this point in time, I just want to show you what else you would have access to. So here inside Telegram, if I just click on these 3, like this hamburger menu here, you see that there are a list of things you can do. So you can see more commands for sure, but you can also control text to speech. So this is why the 11 Labs API was necessary. There are certain things you can do. You can also restart the Moltbot itself. You can reset the current session can set the thinking level. There are so many things you can do. Mind you, if you want to create or update agent skills, you can do so. If you want to do anything in Notion, you just need to enter your API keys. If you want to get a weather forecast, you can do so as well. So it's basically like your chat bot or your assistant just living in Telegram. If we're going to use N8N, maybe you'd have several steps and everything, but this is sort of already inbuilt and done for you in that way. So I think that if you're non-technical, you probably need to go through the setup phase. So that is a bit technical, but then if you have the steps and you know what you have to follow, then it's a lot more easier for you. But then once you are able to get a setup and everything working, pretty much everything from there is smooth. Once you log into Telegram, it's going to ask you a few questions about yourself and how you want the vibe to be and all that. So once you define all that, it sort of creates a persona, right? And once you define all that, you can then start interacting with the bot. Wait, let me just say, can you create a to-do list inside Notion to help me plan for my upcoming family vacation to Bali, maybe, right? And let's see what it does, right? So it's probably going to ask me for my API key for Notion, or because I've already provided it in the past, it's probably not going to ask me. But like first time I did this, it sort of asked me for my API key. So I had to put in my Notion API key and everything. So it was like, it also gave me steps how to go to Notion, how to set up my API key and everything. And so I was able to do that. And then based on that, I pasted the API key and it was able to provide me with the information I needed. So that was good. So let's see if it's able to create a to-do list for me right now. And I'll show you the response I get in Notion as well. I think this is cool. Honest opinion, this is cool. I don't think it's hyped. It's just that you just need to know your way around, especially if you're non-technical, right? If you're new to shell commands, terminals, and all that, maybe you think it's complicated, but once you understand the steps, it's all good. So it's saying that I've created a new Bali vacation page in Notion inside a TeamSpace home, and it's added a starter to-do list for me. And so it's giving me the link. So if I go into Notion right now, I'm expecting to see this in Notion for me. So as you can see, it's created it in Notion for me. So that's super neat. Let me try something else. Would you like me to add any specific task or research flight options for you? Well, I'll just keep it as that. Let me try something else. So I'm going to try something like locate Danny, show me fun things to do in Toronto. I'm just thinking it's supposed to use the API key I use for Google Places to just locate fun things to do in Toronto. But I'm not sure if it's going to do that. I can see it's typing, but we'll see what it can do. So it's giving me some information. So it's saying that it's unable to browse live web. During the setup, it did mention that like you want to browse the web and all that, you can get a Brave Search API key. So maybe that can help. But then it's sort of giving me some information which is accurate anyways. So I guess it's probably pulling from Google Places because I did provide the API keys for that. And maybe we can try another thing because I know that it's possible to do that. So I'm just going to use some of these pre-canned messages here. So I'm just going to say get a weather forecast for me. So just by doing /weather, let's see if I get a weather forecast. So let's stop communicating. What if I type, what is weather in Toronto now? Let's see what it does. So it stopped communicating, and I don't know if it's something that has to do with rate limits or anything because I'm sort of also using Gemini in the background. So maybe the rate limits are up, or it could be rate limits, or I'm gonna keep trying to see if it works. Oh, so it gave me the weather forecast. So it's telling me that the weather in Toronto is approximately minus 12 degrees. Yes, that's the reality we live in. And it's telling me it's definitely indoor weather right now. And I like the fact that because I asked in the beginning about fun things to do in Toronto, it's already putting things together and it's like, you know what, it's very cold. So if you want to do something, then it has to be indoors. So it's just basically keeping the context I gave it earlier on based on the questions I asked, and it's sort of giving me a response that way. So that's really good. That's really good. It's responded. It just took a while. So that's good, guys. I would encourage you to try it out and let me know. You think this was hype? Does it live up to the hype? Is it worth it? Is anything better than this? Or it's something Honestly, I think that you can use it in collaboration with N8N, and probably in my subsequent tutorials, I'm going to show you how you can connect this to an automation inside, and let me know if you want to see something like that as well. But that is it for today's tutorial, guys. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm also going to leave the link to some of my tutorials on the screen so that you can check it out as well. But that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.